The air inside the interrogation room was thick enough to choke on. A single fluorescent bulb hummed overhead, casting harsh shadows across Daniel Sullivan's pale face. He sat rigid in the metal chair, hands locked together so tightly his knuckles looked like cracked porcelain. Detective Sarah Chun didn't move, didn't even blink. Her eyes, dark and unrelenting, were locked on him, watching for the slightest tremor of guilt. Between them lay the still image that had changed everything, the traffic camera photo showing Emma and Lily, hand in hand, walking into the night. Daniel didn't look at it. He couldn't. The photograph, now burned into the minds of everyone on the investigative team, was impossible to reconcile with his frantic 911 call, the rehearsed sobs, the stories he repeated like lines in a script. Detective Chen's voice was quiet, but sharp enough to cut through the silence. "Daniel, do you remember where you were on the night of October 13th, around 11:47 p.m.? He cleared his throat but didn't answer. Chun slid the photograph closer across the cold table. "Because your daughters weren't in their beds, like you said. They were here, walking down Riverside Avenue. And they weren't alone." His breathing quickened, but still, he said nothing. His silence spoke louder than words. Before we dive deeper into this mystery, subscribe so you don't miss any crucial evidence that's about to surface. This case will change everything you thought you knew. Hit that subscribe button now to follow every twist in this heartbreaking story. Detective Chin didn't press him right away. Instead, she let the silence fill the room, the weight of the evidence pressing down like a storm. The RCMP team had spent weeks combing through every inch of Daniel's life. His finances were unraveling, his custody battle with Rebecca Martinez had grown bitter, and his perfect suburban facade had started to crumble. The new footage hadn't just raised suspicions, it had detonated them. It was undeniable proof that Daniel's carefully crafted timeline was a lie. And the worst part? The more they dug, the clearer it became that Emma and Lily hadn't simply disappeared. They had followed someone they trusted, someone they loved. Rebecca Martinez sat down with investigators just 2 days after the footage was uncovered. Her voice trembled as she shared something she'd kept locked away since the divorce. "Daniel told me once," she said, eyes rimmed with red, "that if the courts tried to take Emma and Lily from him, he'd do whatever it took to keep them. I thought it was just anger talking. You don't believe something like that until it's too late." Detective Chin scribbled notes, but her gut told her everything. This wasn't a simple case of a father snapping under pressure. This felt planned, deliberate. As the investigation expanded, Chen's team examined Daniel's movements in the days before the twins' disappearance. Receipts and credit card records revealed something chilling: a booking for a remote cabin 2 days prior, paid in cash. The cabin sat nestled deep in the woods, far beyond the search perimeter. Officer Rodriguez, Chen's longtime partner, led the team out there on a rainy afternoon. The woods swallowed their voices, every step sinking into wet earth. The cabin, an old structure with weathered walls, looked abandoned at first glance. But as Rodriguez pushed open the creaking door, the evidence of recent activity was unmistakable. 2 mugs of hot chocolate sat half-finished on the table. A folded pink blanket was draped over a chair, and in the corner, Emma's beloved stuffed elephant lay on the floor, its ear nearly torn off. Rodriguez called Chen immediately. "They were here," he said, "not long ago." If this story is gripping you the way it's gripping me, please subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the evidence we're about to uncover will shock you to your core. This isn't just about a lie, it's about 2 little girls who trusted the wrong person. What are your thoughts so far? Let me know in the comments below. The cabin scene triggered something in Rebecca. When she saw the photos of Emma's elephant, she collapsed into tears. "She can't sleep without it," she said. "She takes it everywhere. Why would he bring them there? Why didn't he just bring them home?" That question haunted everyone on the investigative team. Why the secrecy? Why the lies? Detective Chen believed the answer lay in Daniel's journal, a tattered notebook found hidden in a cardboard box in the garage. The entries were dark and erratic, scrawled in angry handwriting. "They won't take them from me." One entry read, "No one understands. I'm the only one who can protect them." One line stood out above all the others, circled in red ink. If they vanish, they'll always be mine. This evidence changes everything. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. The truth we're uncovering is devastating, and every new detail brings us closer to finding out what really happened to Emma and Lily. Tell me in the comments if you think Daniel was working alone, or if someone else was helping him. The Maplewood community, which once rallied behind Daniel, was now turning on him. Candlelight vigils were replaced by angry whispers. The man they had comforted and supported now looked like a stranger. Detective Chun organized a town hall meeting to share what they could without compromising the investigation. Dozens of parents showed up, holding photos of Emma and Lily, begging for answers. How could this happen here? One father asked. Chun didn't have an answer. She couldn't stop thinking about the shadowy figure just out of frame in the traffic footage. Who was leading those girls down that dark street? And was Daniel the one holding the camera's blind spot? Meanwhile, forensic teams swept the cabin and its surrounding woods. In the mud, they found small footprints, Emma and Lily's sizes, and fresh tire tracks from a vehicle matching Daniel's pickup. It wasn't a smoking gun, but it was enough to prove he'd been there and recently. The next step was clear. Bring him in for another round of questioning. Daniel sat across from Chun again, the journal now lying open in front of him. His face drained of color when he saw it. Did you write this? Chun asked. He hesitated. I was angry. It doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything? Chun leaned forward. Your daughters are missing. We found their stuffed toy at a cabin you rented 2 days before they vanished. Do you want to explain that? Daniel's silence was deafening. Rebecca couldn't sleep. In a tearful phone call with Chun, she said, he loved them. I know he did. But he loved control more. Please find my babies. Help us seek justice for Emma and Lily by subscribing and sharing their story. The next part of this investigation will expose Daniel's darkest secret, a secret so twisted it will leave you speechless. What do you think was really going on in Daniel's mind that night? Let me know in the comments. But the story doesn't end here. In part 3, we'll take you into the woods behind that cabin, where investigators found something that will change everything. A discovery that proves Daniel's lies were darker than anyone imagined, and that someone else may have been involved all along.